What's going on, kidpo? Welcome back to Real Talk Thursday. Today, we're going to talk about the trending Tinder swindler.
I hope you guys have watched it because it was literally bananas.
It was bananas. I randomly found it on Netflix one day because I love TV. I'm obsessed with TV. I watch a lot of TV. And I saw this, and I know Geraldine likes documentaries. I wasn't even halfway through. I mean, that stuff gets juicy from the jump, okay? Yes. I wasn't even halfway through. I texted Geraldine, I was like, girl, you have got to watch this.
I knew it was going to be bad. I knew it was going to be bad. Anyway, let's just get into it.
I didn't expect it to be as bad as it was. But let me just say that after I was done, I was so disturbed to my core that I had to pray before I could do anything else. I was so disturbed. So,
then I watched it when she said, "Oh, it's so good." I was like, "Okay, I need to get on and watch it." And I watched it shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. So let me tell you what my first red flag was.
I mean, there were so many. It's just
there were so many.
There's so many.
Can you put the little thing in the upper corner that goes back to one of the videos we've done about talking about red flags? Anyway, we're not going to belabor the point, but go watch the red flag video. Yeah. But you know how I said I never trust men that have a lot of money?
Yes.
The private jet situation, to me, I was like, because
there's so many things within that are red flags even.
Yes. Because if it was a legitimate, if he was legitimate, then it's like you just met him and automatically he's trying to like flex pretty hard. And I'm not necessarily saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I could just tell. I was like, If somebody that I just met online was like, do you want to come with me on a trip?
No. I would say that's a bad thing.
And then she even said that her friends were telling her, like, what? Like, are you crazy? Like, blah, blah, blah. And she was just like, I got to do something different. I want to live a little, which let me take a little side note. For those of us who are of a certain age and still single, sometimes it may feel like, well, let me just take the risk of doing something I haven't done before because nothing else I've done is working. I felt so bad for all of the women, but I felt so bad. And I don't know, because that third lady was a G.
I'm trying to remember. Oh gosh, now I need to go back and watch it.
The lady who sold his stuff.
Oh, she was a G. Yeah. I liked her.
I liked her
because she was in a relationship with him for what?
A year, I think.
A little over a
year. But I felt so bad for the first lady because you could tell that she just really honestly like wanted to find love. And my heart really goes out to people who feel that way because you're just trying to open your heart and be open to new experiences and stuff like that. And I always tell myself, like, I'm not going to meet anyone if I don't do anything, if I don't get out, which is like my current state of affairs. But then it's like, when you do get out, it's like, should I trust this? Should I trust that?
Right. But unfortunately, you have to be that careful. You have to be like that. Because people are freaking crazy out there. Crazy. And like, if someone ever asked me, well, okay, so let me go back. I actually had an experience, and this is like back in 2008 or 2000. What year was that?
Let me find out you had a private jet experience.
No, 2000. It was like 2007, 8, or 9. Because I remember the apartment that I was living in, and I was living in that apartment during those years. And I was doing I did eHarmony, I did Match.com, and I forgot. I think I met him on eHarmony. Super nice guy. He played basketball overseas. Very humble, love the Lord. Even to this day, like we follow each other on like Facebook, which I never go on Facebook anymore, but we follow each other on Facebook. Super nice guy. We had a couple conversations, kind of awkward, but it was just like cute, like innocent. And I never met him, but he wanted me to fly out to Philly, to meet him. And but this is what it was. It wasn't even like creepy or anything. He was like, cause my best friend at the time lived in Delaware, and Delaware and Philly are super close. So he was like, I want to pay for your ticket. I want to fly you out to Delaware so you can go to your friend's house. You can spend time with your friend. And I just want a couple hours with you to meet you at a coffee shop or something.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I felt, first of all, I'm really bad at receiving gifts. It's like,
I know.
I'm really bad at like,
it's like,
and I didn't want, especially when it comes to men and money. Like, I'm really bad at allowing men to pay for like things, especially like that. Like, if you want to pay for dinner, cool. But like, if you want to shower me with stuff, I'm like,
but some women are fine with that. And I'm not saying that that's good or bad. Like, if you can get it, girl, get your groove on. But I feel the same way. It's like, I don't know. I don't want to come off weird.
as a gold digger. I want to be showered with gifts and stuff like that. I think it's so sweet, but I'm just not good at it because I don't know. It just feels weird.
I think I would only be comfortable with it once we're invested in a relationship. I think it's odd to do that.
Well, in the beginning, absolutely.
And when you're dating, because I'm like, I don't know your motives. You don't know my motives. Like, I don't know enough.
That's true.
To know what's going on.
So I told him, I said, I don't know. Let me pray about it. And it could have been so great. I'm sure it would have been fine.
Yeah, because your friend could have came.
She was going to come
and
with
sat
me.
like at another table or whatever.
And he was okay with her even joining in the conversation. So it wasn't creepy, but I still ended up saying no.
Aww.
And he said, well, he was like, I know you said no, but I bought you the plane ticket. It's in your name. If you change your mind, I really want to meet you. And I didn't do it. I didn't do it. So if someone had a private,
I feel like your situation is different. I may have entertained.
Looking back, I wish I would have just done it.
Not just sight unseen, and you want to take me to another country,
and you're asking me to send you my passport information. Do you know how sensitive?
No.
Thank you.
No.
Why would you do that to someone? You're gonna literally take a picture of your private, personal, delicate information. And send it to a stranger?
Now, let me jump in and say this, because I was thinking this the whole time I was watching. People who live in other countries, people who live in Europe, I feel like they even have a different way of living than we do in America. It's a little bit more common, I think, for them to go into different countries.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I was even
just so close.
Yes, I was trying to even keep that in mind. Like, okay, like, because I don't want to have broke biatch mentality all my life. So I try to think of like scenarios that are outside like my comfort zone. Like, okay, well, what do people who have money do? What do people who live in these other places do? Like, I could understand, because of course there were all these memes and stuff like that after people started watching it, talking about like, how could these ladies be so dumb and stuff like that. But in the right circumstances, I could see how she would think he was legit in the beginning. Now, some other stuff happened along the way that I was like, child. Let me tell you why I feel like she messed up. When he sent her the roses, he asked her for her address so he could send her roses. Her home address.
Oh, yeah, I would never do that. But she had already gone and slept with him and stuff, so what's the difference?
Hey, but sometimes it's easier to do that than to send somebody address. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that just because she had already gone on the trip with them.
But I thought that was before they went on the trip. Was it the roses before or after?
I think he sent her the roses after, didn't he?
I don't remember.
Maybe I need to brush up on my
I know, because I just remember thinking when she was like, I got these roses, and it's like, sorry. It's okay.
You're fine.
And it was just like, she was just so happy of this grand romantic gesture, which I think sometimes too, it could be easy to get, as a woman, to get caught up in that. But I just remember thinking, them roses showed up at your house, girl. Like, he just was like, send me your address because I want to send you. I'm pretty sure that's what she said.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't
like,
remember.
send me your address because I want to send you something. I would have been like...
Right. But at that point, even if they hadn't gone on the trip yet, she already sent him her passport information.
That was... No, because she didn't send him that until the credit card part, right?
No, because they went on the trip on the first day. Because remember, they ended up sleeping together. They went on the trip. They had an amazing time. Blah blah
now
blah.
I'm feeling rusty.
He flew her back, and then she was afraid that she was never going to hear from him again.
Mm-hmm.
But then she did, and she was so happy. And then it wasn't until a little bit later.
Oh wait! We can't go past the trip part without talking about the fact that when she showed up, the lady and his kid
was on the plane.
Now, how bizarre was that? That's
bizarre. Because first of all, why do you have your kid around some strange woman you met on Tinder? First of all,
why? I would be thinking, why? If this is a business thing that you're going on, why are the mother and the child going?
That wouldn't seem as weird to me, just because, like, if he wants to spend a lot of time with his child, I would be a little bit. Well, if the mother was there,
if you got that much money, then you should have a nanny.
Oh, you're right.
Like,
but I mean, why not? I would say no. You're right. Now, if the mother was there, I would be
are they swingers? Now I show up and you just got this other woman.
Among all the other stuff he does.
That was my first thought. Oh, you have me show up and there's this other woman. What is y'all trying to get me into?
Right. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't go on the damn trip in the first place, so I wouldn't be thinking anything.
Everything about it was just
everything was
strange.
Wrong. Everything was wrong.
But I will say, some people go on online dating and they get like catfished. At least in this lady's case, she really saw that he was a real person. She really was on a real jet. It was it really was real.
Everything was legitimate.
Yeah, everything really looked a certain way. So I could understand, even though I don't think she used her best discernment. No. I could see where she would be like, wow, because I think she even said like she's kind of from like a small little town in wherever country that she's from. So it's like the country bumpkin and the city guy. Right. And you're just like thinking like, oh, is this how people live like this?
But I think that's the problem. I feel like you only get in trouble like that when you're feeling desperate. And not even desperate in like an insulting way. Like when you were talking about people so like wanting love so bad, I feel like, we've all been at that point. But I think that when you want it so bad like that, you're willing to overlook a lot of stuff that you wouldn't overlook if you were like, okay, I want it, but I'm also not willing to settle. Like, I mean, because being catfish in general, there are so many things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how can you get I mean, you can't really get catfished if you're thinking logically.
Yeah.
You can't get catfished if you're
I can see that.
Trying to get to know somebody online, and for some reason every time you try to FaceTime something happens. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, come on.
So in that regard, I feel like he was doing all the right things, because he was like actually FaceTiming with her and talking to her and doing all of the things. And of course, as the story unfolded, then you could see what exactly it was that he was doing, because he was spending money.
It just wasn't
his own.
It wasn't until he got into the thing with Peter. He got into the fight where his enemies were after him. That's when.
Let me tell y'all something. Even my son, because I was so blown away by a Tinder swindler. I'm in a public speaking class. Some of you guys know that I'm finishing my degree. And I did one of my speeches on this because it was just so astounding to me. It's like what happened. But so even my son is like, so why did that man keep saying that his enemies were after him? I'm like, man, child, that he didn't have no enemies. Them enemies was about as fake as freaking Nicki Minaj's butt. But here's what I thought was crazy to me. And I have a younger brother that is a nice looking single man that makes a lot of money. I feel like it's a red flag when people that you don't know really well ask you for big favors. Like, usually if you needed something, you were just like, hey, my back is against the wall. Like, it makes sense for you to ask me. It makes sense for you to go to a close friend or family member.
Especially when they would never normally ask you for anything.
Right. Yeah. But when a person who's essentially a stranger,
you got all that money,
asks you for a big favor, or even, this is for some of you ladies, just things to be on the lookout for. When a guy that you only have been talking to for a little bit of time or that you don't know that well says, it feels like you're the only person I can talk to, or you're the only person I can turn to. For me personally, that seems like a red flag, because why do most people have at least one or two family members, one or two close friends, somebody that when the rubber meets the road, they can call on? If you don't have no one, that usually means that you've burned bridges with too many people, and you don't have no one who you can call on. So now you have to ask somebody who don't know about your shenanigans.
That's very true. Because you got all that money. You have all these connections. Your daddy's a billionaire. And you gonna ask me? You gonna ask me to take out a loan?
Because listen, when you are legitimately a part of a company or whatever, there's all kinds of access and resources and stuff that you could do if your enemies were tracking you by your credit card. You could very easily get a credit card that's not linked to your name. I mean, there's so many other things he could do. So that should have been red flag. Look, if she didn't already get some of the pre-red flags that had came before, that should have been the one. Like, he's part of all this business. He has a billionaire father, but he wants to use my American Express.
Right. But then she's thinking, he just did all this amazing, wonderful stuff for me. Like, he flew me out and he bought me this amazing dinner and we did this and we did that and he bought me this and that. And I mean, it would be selfish of me not to do this.
And that's the part that sucks, because he really was manipulating all these women, because yes, there is that component where now she feels indebted to him.
Right.
For everything that he did do. And it's like, well, I know he legitimately has money because I've seen him spend I know that he's good for it. I know he can pay me back. So it's like, again, her spidey senses were probably tingling, but she probably ignored it because she's thinking, I know it's going to be fine because he's just going to turn around and pay me back.
Right. Which in different circumstances, like if it was like a legitimate person, we'd gone through things the right way without all the red flags in the beginning, I would probably be like that. Mm-hmm. Like if I was dating someone and we met and it wasn't like weird like that, but like we met normally and he was just like, my back isn't against the wall, da, 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 and he did all this stuff for me. Like I would be hesitant just because ooh, that's a big ask and we ain't married. But I'm not going to lie and say that I wouldn't think about it, just because, like, if you've been doing all this amazing stuff for me.
I would think about it, but we going to be typing up some contract or some legal.
Would you, though?
We going to be typing it. I feel like that's... I've done it for less. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because it's like, no, you're not about to just leave me hanging when something happens. Because, we all know the saying. When it comes to money, you might as well consider any money that goes out of your hand to somebody a gift. Don't ever feel like you loaning somebody money, because you just never know if you're going to ever get it back.
That's real. I've loaned people so much money before. Like, I mean, several people like money. Oh, I'm going to pay you back. I'll pay you. Never saw that money again.
Yeah. So it's like, you might as well just, if you want to give something to someone out of the kindness of your heart, because I'm all for helping people. Like, I think that we should help people. And if someone is, is desperate or the back is against the wall, but don't ever do something that would then hurt you or put you in a bad position if they can't hold up their end of the bargain by paying you back. Right. If it's something that you can give away and you'll still be okay if they never pay you back, help them all day.
Right.
But if it's like, I mean, because she ended up racking up, but the fact that she kept doing it.
Because he did pay her back at first, though, right? To kind of like make her feel like he's trustworthy.
Did he?
Like the first time I think he
just
paid
like
her back.
one of the smaller amounts.
Yeah, and then he was just like, I need this, I need more, and then gets mad at her. Like, that's another thing. You gonna get mad at me when I say enough is enough?
And she was getting scared when you express to someone that it's like, I'm nervous about this, I don't know, and they treat you like you're crazy, or they get
I'm good for it. I paid you back.
That's definitely a red flag, because anytime someone is doing you a favor, you should be grateful. Absolutely. And if they feel hesitant, you should be like, you know what, I understand, because I really am asking a lot of you. If you don't feel comfortable with that, it's okay. I understand. Like, I'll figure something. I'm expecting you to be coming with some humility, not with some attitude.
I need you to be grateful that I'm still on the other end of this phone line right now. Because that is some.
But look, now it surprised me when it got to the second lady, who didn't end up being someone that he was dating, because she was like, they just didn't end up having chemistry, but they stayed friends. Yeah. Now, were you surprised about that? Because even she did swindled. But
I feel like male-female friendships, I feel like there's probably still a part of her that was either like drawn to the lifestyle, the life. She didn't want to lose his friendship, probably because she didn't want to lose the connection, the excitement, whatever else he could possibly do for her in the future.
The access that she had to all of those extravagant things
and people
they were doing.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably why she ended up getting swindled, is because she didn't want to lose access to all of that, all the fun and all the excitement.
And anytime you have somebody in your life, that's such a good point. If you have someone in your life that you call a friend, a close friend, this person is my close friend. Take an inventory of what it is that you think it makes y'all's friendship a great friendship. Because if you take away the fun things that y'all do together, or the fact that they can get you backstage at the place, or the fact that they can help you skip the line at the club. If you take all that away and it's nothing but you and them sitting in a room talking as a friend, would y'all still be friends?
Real talk.
Because I think a lot of people that feel like they're close friends, it's really more of like a business arrangement. Yeah. They're close friends as long as it's a benefit.
Right. That's true.
So that you may not get romantically swindled, but some of us are still getting swindled in friendships.
That's true.
Now, look, we got to the third lady. Now, if y'all haven't watched it, look, these are all spoiler alerts. So if you're still watching right now and you ain't watched it, then you did it to yourself.
But you still should watch it, because it's
definitely watch it.
Yeah.
So look, this guy, what he's doing is he's hopping from woman to woman, using people's resources, using one woman's resources on the next woman, and then finding another woman.
These are only like the stories of the women in the documentary. He's seeing many women, at a time.
Many. Because by the time it unfolded all at the end, did you hear like all those people who were saying, yeah, I knew him. Somebody was like, he was their nanny for their kids. Yeah. I mean, he's
all over the place.
He was all over the place. And people who are con artists, professional con artists, they know who to target. They know what to say. They know what looks believable. Oh my gosh, because
I know somebody who said that he can spot a woman with daddy issues,
and that's who he
targets. Ain't that some?
Look, gird your loins, ladies, and your loins, your hearts, and all your parts.
For real.
Because there are people who prey on lots of different weaknesses. I mean, it could be lots of different little things. If they feel like they can get a piece from this person, a piece from that person, a piece from this person, a piece from that person, that's definitely what they will do. But let me tell you y'all how the last lady flipped the script. So there was 3 ladies as a part of this documentary. The first 2 ladies, once they found each other and they ended up being like the Yaya sisterhood of the traveling pants, they got together and they're trying to figure out, okay, how can we stop this dude? And they started to get the story out. Because the
first one was the one who like really was just like, I have to help other women. I cannot let this go.
I was proud of her. Yes. For everything that, that she went through or anything that she ignored. Once she came to her senses, she was like, oh no, I need to help make sure that nobody else goes through that. And I thought that was really good because we all make mistakes.
For sure, yeah.
But if you're too embarrassed of your mistake to tell people that you made a mistake to help prevent them from making the mistake, then nobody gets help. If you're never like willing to share what happened. So
she dug deep. She
poor
dug
thing,
deep.
Man, I my heart really went out to her.
Yeah.
But so they joined forces. They started putting the story out, right? So now lady number 3 is scrolling. She just on phone having a good day. And she sees her boo's picture pop up. And she's like, now what's my man doing in the news article? He had this other lady that he had been seeing for over a year that was really thinking they were in a relationship and things were good and stuff.
Like they were headed towards marriage.
She's reading this story and she's realizing like, oh my gosh, she's putting timelines together. Now she's, in child private eye. And I feel like that's the thing that the other ladies didn't do that I really appreciated about the third lady, because she was like, so I started looking, and she was talking about how they were using WhatsApp and when she would see the check marks versus when she was like, you could tell that she's just,
I feel like there's a lot of women that would be like, my man wouldn't do that to me, I'm not even listening to that, I trust him.
Or even just like not put the pieces together, because I think always there's something in the back of our minds where we kind of know, but we force ourselves to ignore it or like overlook it. So I don't know if maybe she even felt that way, because this is just me making assumptions. But once she saw his picture, man, the level of investigative journalism that sprang out of her womb. Yes. She was like, so she was matching up timelines. Oh, he had her looking at apartments, and then I was looking at apartments, for us to live in
different countries.
So then she makes a plan to get her, because she's like, at this point she knows she's not getting her money back because she had loaned him money as well. The first lady had loaned him $250,000.
$250,000.
This is why people like us don't get swindled, because we is poor.
And I never leave the house and don't go on dates.
Because that would be the red flag of all the red flags I need to know. You need how much money? You need access to the what?
Oh, no. Me too.
No.
No.
Exactly.
Right.
Look, let's make a plan. When you find the plan, you tell me the plan, because I need the money too. So the third lady, she's like, I got to look out for numero uno, and numero uno is myself. How am I going to recoup as much money as I can? Luckily, I think she said she already worked in the luxury fashion industry. So she knew that the way he dressed and the jewelry and stuff that he had, she knew that a lot of his stuff was legit. Because some of his stuff was fake. Because remember, the other lady said he gave her a watch as a payment towards the debt. And then she went to the pawn place or whatever, and they told her it was a fake.
Why do people give jewelry? Because doesn't jewelry depreciate? You're not going to get the full amount.
Jewelry depreciates probably worse than almost anything other than cars.
That's what I thought. Like, why would you? I don't want this jewelry. Give me my money.
So he's like, well, you can use my watch as a collateral. I would have been like,
right.
If you think I could use it, sell it and give me the money.
I mean, seriously.
But anyway, I digress. So what she did was, now his money is running out because these people are catching on to what he's doing and people are starting to cut him off, right? So she's telling him, she's trying to convince him, well, let's sell some of your clothing, you know, your nice clothes and stuff like that. And I can try to get as much money for it as possible. And she had him thinking that she was going to give the money to him.
Because at this point, everyone else like dropped him. She's literally the only person who is giving him the time of day. And he's like, oh my gosh, what would I do without you? Like, I trust you with everything. You're my everything. You're not, I could marry you. Da, 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 da. And he doesn't realize that she's manipulating him this whole entire time.
Yeah. So she gets, you know, all the clothes together. And she even made a statement like he didn't even help her, which I'm like, you know, that's another red flag. Because she's getting all the clothes together, getting the trunks and stuff in the car, and he's like not even helping her do like the heavy lifting. It's like, man, the fact that y'all could tell that he was a bum of all bums. Right. But anyway, so she proceeds to start selling his stuff and getting the money, and you know, he's calling her and saying like, so have you got any money? Have you got any money? She's like, no. And she's
banking. Yeah,
she's getting them. I think she even got like a notification during the recording because they were like, are you still selling his stuff? Yeah. She's like still selling his stuff, which I thought was so funny. But eventually it gets to a point where he realizes that she's not going to give him any money. So then, of course...
And then he's, at this point, he's like living in hostels. Like he went from living in penthouses to living in a hostel.
And he's sending her pictures, look at how I'm living. I'm like, first of all, look, I know how we say men should be strong and all this stuff. And I believe that men are people too. Men have emotions. Men can be vulnerable and all that. But I think in general, if you have a man that's sending you, oh, woe is me. Oh, look, I can't do this. I can't do that. Look, I'm in this hotel and it's not nice. Look, I'm in. That is a super huge red flag.
Super huge.
You don't have hardly even any pride as a man, as a person, to try to figure out how to fix your own situation. So you're trying to guilt trip somebody into helping you by making it seem like you're this helpless person who needs to come be rescued. Right. The only way I'm rescuing a man is if he's my husband.
Right.
We don't rescue boyfriends, ladies.
No.
Men deserve to have all of the things and more. I'm not saying that for anybody who, you know, a guy that might be watching. But we don't do that for people we're dating. We don't do that for boyfriends. You do that for husbands. Then, I'm going to ride or die.
I'm not going to lie, though. If I was in a serious relationship and we had been together for a while, I would probably rescue my boyfriend. Well, not to that degree, though.
I was about to say, I'll rescue him up to a certain point.
Right. I'm not going to rescue no thousands of dollars. Like, we ain't talking money here.
You're talking about $250,000.
I'll come pick you up when your car breaks down on 465. But don't ask me to take out a loan for you.
Because I used to tell my son's father, who is like a sweetheart, and he's, you know, a totally legit person. But we used to talk about, what would you do, like, if I did something, because you know how some women will be like, I'll take a case for my man. I'll go to jail for my man.
I'm not going to jail for no man.
I used to tell him, well, you're going to be sitting in that jail, because I'm going to be like, see, what had happened was, hold on, let me pull up my record. Yeah, this is the last time I talked to him, and this is what he said, and this is what...
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to jail for my husband either.
No.
I'm not going to jail for my husband. It depends on, like, no, I'm not going to jail. I'm not going to jail for my husband. If you do something stupid that lands you in jail... It would depend on
what... If it was some legit, like, protecting your... Something happen... I don't know.
I'm not going to jail for nobody. That's not happening. I'm not going to jail for nobody.
But I dang sure ain't going to jail for no boyfriend or nobody that I'm dating. Because I used to tell him all the time, okay, wake up and bump your head if you want to.
Right. I will go out of my way for you. But I'm not going to jail for you.
I'm go out of my way to tell on you, because what they not about to do is show up at my door where I'm at with my kids talking about, Geraldine, do you know this person and where were you? I'm like, nope, come on in. Let me make some tea. I'm tell you everything I know.
Exactly. That's not happening. I'm not getting in trouble with the law. We good.
I'm getting ready to tell on your whole life.
We good.
But Here's what I will say, kind of in closing to wrap this up, because I got to go pick up my son. So we're keeping it kind of short today. But when you are dating, and this is for any of us, we've all made the mistakes. Like, it's okay. This is not to say that we don't understand how anyone could be taken advantage of.
Because it happens all the time.
It happens all the time. And it happens on smaller
scales, but also on large scales. In fact, I had a client, and not to draw this out, but I had a client years ago who was dating, or she met this guy's sister. He was in jail. So she became friends with his sister. She introduced her to her brother who was in prison. So they were talking, communicating. She ended up sending him over the course of like 2 years, like $12,000 or something crazy for his what is it, whatever it is. I forget what it's called.
For your books.
Yeah. And so then she goes and drives to another state to pick him up when he gets released. Takes him home. He's like, I'm right back. I'm gonna go for a walk real quick. Never comes back. Never comes back. So it happens all the time. And that's what I was saying. Like, when you're at the point where you're and I feel like so many, I was there before, like, so, like, anxious, desperate. Like, I want to be in a relationship so bad. Like, you just overlook so many things because your desperation. And I'm not, and again, I don't mean that in an offensive way, because, we've all been there. Where we're like, I just want it so bad. I want to get married so bad. I want to be in a relationship so bad. That you just overlook because, like, oh, he seems nice. Oh, everything on paper looks good. And then you start to dismiss all of the little signs that are, like, screaming at you that this is not a good idea. So, like, when you're online dating, like, especially when you're on, well, not even especially, because it's, like you said in our live, like, it's no different. My dad used to always get so mad at me for online dating, but I'm like, that is no different. They can lie to me just as easily to my face.
And do.
And, yes, than they can online. But when you have to be level-headed and you have to be unwilling to settle, because we settle so easily when we have that, like, that intense, like, desperation.
And I think, too, one thing that I struggle with more than, like, any feelings of desperation is I struggle with being too nice to people once I meet them, because there's something in my mind that tells me everyone's worthy of love. Everyone's worthy, of respect. I mean, he may not have everything going on together right now, but if I just encourage him, and I shouldn't treat him as less than because he does, because I'm always trying to, like, be nice.
Yeah.
But being nice does not always serve you well in certain situations where then you're overlooking someone's pattern of behavior or whatever, because you're so busy trying to not be offensive, or you want people to, especially, like, I feel like as a Christian woman, I don't ever want to leave anybody with a bad taste in their mouth about me or what type of person that I am. So I don't want somebody being like, oh man, I didn't have a lot of money, so she treated me like I was a straight up punk. Like, I wouldn't want anyone to say that. But then, whether it's money or whether it's something else, sometimes those things are just a symptom that person has another problem, that they're not responsible, or they're not going out to, take care of themselves or whatever, yada, yada, yada. But because I'm trying to be nice, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know you had a hard time, and it's like, I'm just trying to not make them, like, be demeaning.
It's trickier at our age.
Yes.
Because if we're dating someone that's our age, around our age, then it's kind of like, and that's not to say that people don't fall on hard times around our age, but it's just, I mean, that's where conversation has to happen. You have to pay close attention to details and not get so, like, married to the idea of the person.
Because y'all just in a job interview.
You in a job interview.
Do you have the qualities that I want? Do you have the qualities that I want? And if y'all don't, that's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to just move on. I think people, like, and I'm guilty of this. I've been guilty of this myself. Like, you feeling like there's no one else in the world. It's like, but he's such a great guy, and this is the only guy. But, like, I've let go of really great guys who just were not the right fit for me.
Yeah.
And like, I don't regret it now, but in the moment it was really hard. It was a really hard decision.
For sure. Because it's like, there's definitely like pee, rust, and algae in the dating pool and everything else, pebbles and turds and everything else. So you're like, should I just stick with this?
Right.
That seems
it's
like
so easy to
good enough, because I don't want to be back out there. But, and we may have to have we should do, let us know if y'all want us to do a part 2 of this conversation as a live.
I think that would be interesting.
So y'all can watch this and then we'll do a live so we can get y'all's like feedback and interaction. But watch Tinder Swindler on Netflix. This is not sponsored content. And let us know if you've ever been taken advantage of by someone that you've met online, or a guy that you've met anywhere, a friend. You know, we're kind of talking about like financially. Have you ever been financially taken advantage of, or have they ever taken resources from you, stolen anything, ran off with your dog? If anything like that has happened, let us know.
Can we talk about how it ended? I was so disturbed.
Nope, they gotta wait for part 2.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we got a part 2. We got to part 2 this. So, let us know in the comments if you've ever been swindled.
Now we're back to being shook, and it's like we want to continue, but we're gonna have a part 2.
We're gonna have part 2.
Make sure you guys click the subscribe button, click the like button, comment, and share. And we'll see you guys in the next Real Talk Thursday. Bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh.
You know.